What are the beliefs of someone who really takes good care of themselves? What are the beliefs of someone who really have a great self-space, connects deeply with them, and at the same time they have a beautiful social gathering, they have a beautiful social life, they follow through on their dreams, they invest in what they want to invest in, they take rich decisions throughout the days. What is it to be a person to choose themselves? Who's that type of person? That is a person who holds certain beliefs. And we are going to talk about beliefs today of a person who chooses herself. Your beliefs works as filters. So when you are filtering into a certain belief, your brain will start to go on that specific path. So your brain will begin to look for evidence and proof for supporting that belief. And that's why it's so important for us to really check in on our beliefs. Whenever we want to make a change in our life, up level, when we want to pull in a manifestation, whatever it is, make that more of our life, so to say, we have to look into our beliefs. And sometimes I have in the past been going down the rabbit hole of filtering, right? Filtering into what are the beliefs that I have that doesn't support my environment, or doesn't support my big change that I want to make in my life, or doesn't support the new me that I'm becoming. And what I notice is that I'm just like filtering in on that. So then my brain will just focus in on, okay, what are the beliefs that are not supportive? What are the beliefs that are not supportive? That hasn't been so efficient for me. I believe always we have to have a certain level of awareness. So I always believe that that might be the first step, but that's when we know that, we should not linger there any longer, so to say. What I felt is much more efficient is actually to look into what are the beliefs that I want to have? What are the supporting beliefs that can really help in my situation and can really fuel the new reality that I want to see for myself? So there are 4 beliefs that have helped me really in my life to choose me. And when I'm talking about choosing me, this is about being a person who's in overflow, being a person who is of love, being a person who nourishes herself, so then she naturally, right, nourishes others, her relationships, her job, what she do for a living, what she do during her days, her rituals, her routines, all of that. It creates that ripple effect. But it always starts with choosing ourselves. So the first belief that has shifted so much for me in my life and really transformed in how I look to myself and how I kind of build my life and how much I enjoy my life nowadays actually, is the belief of that if I feel for resting, then I will do so. And this is a belief that can be so difficult for me to hold sometimes. I think this is maybe one of the most difficult ones that I've had. But me setting a belief and deciding for a belief is the difference that I'm making. So many of us sometimes say that we have to be fully something, or we blaming ourselves for that we falling out of place or falling out of our belief or so forth. But it's rather about always choosing it. It's rather about as soon as I'm noticing that I'm not like living my life according to a certain belief and living my life according to a certain standard which I set for myself, then I'm gonna course direct. I'm just, okay, it was an error, okay, this is where I'm going to go. This was a bug, okay, I'm going to fix this bug. Okay, new feature into this one. We have to be open to that. We will go through trial and errors. But when we set a belief that I have this belief, then we tell ourselves and we identify ourselves with a person who actually are rested, peaceful. So what I mean with this one is that you have to become someone who is used to taking rest and taking extra rest and taking rest whenever they feel for. You have to become someone who do really feel that they create from a space of rest, not the other way around. They do not go create and then they rest. They rest and then they create from that space. Then they show up for the world from that space. So this needs a little bit of a change and it needs a little bit of a tweaks, but we have to understand, and I talked about in the it was the previous, I will link the video below, but I talked about what rest is actually for me, and I needed to understand actually how I am resting the most. And what I understood is that when I'm playing, I'm resting the most. So this is really to also, not only saying that, I need to rest and seeing it as that, okay, is it that I need to take a break, right? Like, how is that break? How does that break bring you the energy that you need in order for you to be the person that you want to be? So it's about the energy when we want to be in the being state. Someone who's not used to or feel that they can in one way or another take up space, these are the ones that usually don't really hold this belief. So if you feel that that has been a pattern in your life, you might want to consider to act upon this belief on a day-to-day basis. So the next belief is, I'm my most important asset. The world can wait. We always want to start from a place of calmness, of love, of tenderness, kindness towards ourselves, because then we are able to do that towards the world as well. And the world will not thank you for being mean to yourself, for judging yourself, for criticizing yourself, being harsh, not like neglecting your needs, all of that. The world will not get help from that either. We have to be responsible for ourselves so that we can show up towards the world in the same way. If your body can't make it one day, you feel that, okay, I have so much ache and I will not be able to be energized at work. What can you do in your situation so that you bring in yourself the most? Meaning, what can you do so that you are your most important asset for that day? Sometimes we feel that we can really just no, I'm not doing this. I'm taking care of myself. I'm canceling on my meetings I have, all of that. Sometimes we feel that I want a balance and I want to learn that even though I have a little bit ache, I can still show up energetic. Okay, what do I need to do? Is there some stretch I need to do? Is there something I need to, do different to this day so that I show myself that I am my most important asset? Right? We have to understand, and this can be very extreme and it can be very little, but we have to understand that I am my most important asset. So that means that I need to start the day and I need to continue the day and I need to end the day with really tuning into me, really tuning into where am I most connected, where am I most authentic, where can I show up with love the most? Am I loved towards me? Because then, only then, I can be loved towards others. This is a belief that those who tend to overcommit or overgive, those can have a little bit of a with this belief. You have to look into that belief, so to say, and act on this belief, create this belief. When we overgive, we can sometimes forget that we are actually our most important asset. We can forget that, I need to function in order for me to even help another person. How can I help another person if I'm not functioning, right? If I'm stressed out and another person is stressed out, how will that help the situation? It will not. If I feel that I'm strangled right now and I just need my own space and giving into another person's needs and all of that, right? Neglecting your own, how will that help the other person? The other person will just get that energy as well, and that person doesn't need that energy, right? Usually we really want to help our partner, or we really want to help our colleague at work, or whatever it is, right? Or someone who really needs our help. But if I'm not in that space of being able to help, or if I'm not purely actually feel that I want to help, it's the energy. Energy doesn't lie. Energy doesn't lie. The third belief is, I always make space for myself. So when you have a belief of that, I always make space for myself, you are much less likely to neglect yourself. Okay, so if you feel that you're not really having this belief, you may tend to neglect. You may tend to oversee your own needs, or pushing it to a little bit later. I can take it soon, I can wait a little bit, this can wait. Everything else is higher priority, but my needs, they can wait. That kind of energy. That is an energy which you might have if you feel that this is a little bit difficult for you to hold this belief. So I always make space for myself is a belief that I always make sure that I actually also fulfill my own needs. I always make sure that I am happy, that I am joy, that I feel nourished, that I naturally feel rested and calm, that I naturally feel peaceful, that I have harmony, that I not just giving into one area of my life, but I also am a person who get to have it all. I'm a person who actually get to have all my desires. It's not that I have to choose a certain desire and sacrifice everything else except of that, right? I am always able to give myself space. And this we have to show in actions as well, right? When you are doing something where you feel that it's not that enjoying, you can directly, as we talked about in the latest episode or video, you can really find space within this space. You don't need any extra additional time for that. Okay, and the fourth belief is that I am at peace and I am someone who responds with peace. I love this one, and this has helped me so much in not like acting and reacting on something outside of me, of not taking on so much energies and feeling so drained in the end of the day. When you feel that you being disturbed by the world. Do you understand what I mean? When you feel a little bit like, oh, this person is disturbing me right now. Can I just have my silence? Can I just have my peace? If you tend to feel like that, well, chances are that you need to really integrate this belief within you of that I am at peace, I'm someone who responds with peace. And I use this many times when I feel that in one way or another I am not like I'm responding to a person, or I'm like in a way where I just feel that I'm a little bit triggered in one way or another. I'm a little bit, spikes out. Do you understand what I mean? Then I center myself back and just like, wait a minute, I'm at peace, and I always respond with peace. So how can I respond with more peace in this situation? Do I need to calm myself down first? Do I need to see from another perspective? Is it that I have to ask the person something? Maybe I don't understand everything. Like I become someone who is actually more diplomatic in that way and a much more greater communicator, because I'm just taking it a little bit more chill. Can I say it like that? Right? And I'm silencing the disturbances. So I make sure that I'm not reacting on something instead, and I'm reacting on feeling that now I got distracted by this or this sound outside of my house or whatever, right? I'm always turning into peace. Where can I collect this kind of peace? Where can I be peaceful? And in that way respond to the world with peace instead, because there will always be some things that happens outside. And if you are a person that feels also highly sensitive, or you feel that you are picking up on other people's energies, then it is so important for you that you have the belief of that you are a person who is peaceful. You are a person who responds with peace when something happens, when chaos happens, when you see something outside and just like, wow, what is happening right now? You are not reacting on that. You are not like getting more stressed up when taking on the other people's energies around you and just like, oh my god, this is not a good situation. No, you're just like, okay, we need peace here, we need tranquility. Okay, how can I respond to this situation being calm, right? That sorts things out. I can tell you that sorts things out. So now we have identified 4 key beliefs in order for you to choose you, feel more calm and rested throughout your days, and turn to peace, right? Turn to a person who is naturally rejuvenated and rested. These are the identities or the beliefs that we have now touched upon, and it's now up to you to start to live your life after that, to start to take action, becoming a person who actually holds these beliefs. So I want you to also, if you want to do this a little bit deepening, I want you to ask yourself how you can do that. How can I act on these beliefs? How can I show up as a person who holds these beliefs? What is that I can do different? Can you pinpoint kind of a situation in your life where you could have been acting from a person who holds these beliefs instead, right? This was everything that I want to talk with you for today. You also have my course Self Devoted, which I will link in the description if you want to join. This is a playbook which we are going deep into creating more space for ourselves. We are really taking up this space and we are really choosing ourselves in the next chapter of our lives so that we can also follow through on our dreams, attract even more, like the big deals in our lives, right? Even bigger, attract even more into our lives that we really want when it comes to our dreams and desires. So if that sounds something for you, you have all the information in the description and you can read more about it there. And I talk to you in the next one. Bye.